I agree with Wodamaya when he says that Africa and Africans deserve better. If you really look at it holistically, the continent of Africa is one of the most is the wealthiest continent on planet Earth. If this is your first time here, my name is Jay. The YouTube channel is called Trippin with Jay, and we mainly do travel reaction videos, and we honestly look at videos that intrigue myself, and hopefully that becomes intriguing to you guys, the audience. So let's pivot to today's video. So today's video is from Wodamaya. And if you guys don't know who Wodamaya is, he's one of the largest, if not the largest, YouTuber in Africa. And he is currently at 1.83 million subscribers. And today's video, I thought, was extremely intriguing to myself, and it's titled "The Side of South Africa the Media Won't Show You." And what kind of intrigued me about this video is the thumbnail that was attached to it, and it said that Cape Town was the most organized city in South Africa. I'm like, that's got to be cap, right? So I'm intrigued. I haven't seen it before. It's about 40 minutes. So with my reaction to it, it'll probably be like an hour and a half. So let's go ahead and watch, man. If you guys are not already subscribed to Wodamaya's YouTube channel, I highly suggest that you guys do it. But let's go ahead and react to it, guys.
I just can't stop shouting, wow. Because every view that I see actually blows my mind away, man.
This is where two oceans meet.
Jeez. Imagine having one of those houses, bro. I wonder how much like some of that real estate kind of cost, because I've done a few videos about real estate in South Africa, and they've had this same view, and it's gone for like maybe like a couple $1 million US, so maybe like 1.2 million pounds for my British folks out there. I mean, for a view like this, of course that's expensive, but honestly, it's worth it, bro. To have that view of the ocean in South Africa is pretty affordable to actually live in after you purchase your property or real estate. So that may be a viable option for my rich folks out there, man.
Full of culture. Like, the seas are amazing. Like, it is aesthetically pleasing.
Ooh.
Absolutely every single thing about it. The seas are amazing. Like, it is aesthetically.
Yo, these are the girls that are in South Africa? Hey, man, sign me up, bro. Sign me up, bro. Yeah, I'll be there ASAP. All right, guys, so I have another way to help support the YouTube channel, and we have a merch shop. If you visit trippinwithjay.com, and the link is in the description box below, we can go ahead and look at the exclusive merch that's available, along with the latest releases from the YouTube channel and Instagram, and an opportunity to donate and support the channel, along with a free newsletter. So you guys can see I have branded hoodies from Adidas, and go ahead and purchase this here. And for the first couple of orders, you do get 10% off, and we have a nice hat here as well for $29 before your discount. So be sure to go ahead and support the channel at trippinwithjay.com, and the link is in the description box below. Now back to the reaction.
In Cape Town, they got what we call Crafty Zone, just like in Rwanda.
Oh, you've got something like this in Rwanda?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, no car moves, right? It's more like
Yes.
A street being blocked.
And every Sunday is like this.
Is it from morning to evening?
Yes. So
I find that interesting as well, like when they block off the streets for a Sunday, because that is honestly a thing in Latin America as well. So in Mexico in particular, what they'll do in cities like Merida, or I think in Mexico City as well, what they'll actually do, they'll block off a certain block, and they'll ban cars from driving down those blocks, and people can skateboard, they can run, they can bike ride, they can literally just use that street as like a way to get around if they want to, like to actually view the city. So I'm surprised that they do it in South Africa, because I thought that was just like a Latin American thing. But here, seeing it here is kind of cool too, because South Africa has some really great weather as well. And of course, beautiful women. So doing this is kind of like a nice activity to where you can actually possibly go on a date with someone, or this can be like a little get together with your friends too. Shout out to James. James Jana is now following. I appreciate you, bro. And let's go do a few chats here, man. Let's pay attention to the chat a little bit. And same thing, bro. I was like, well, why do they do that? But I understand because if you guys haven't noticed yet, do you guys see any like obese or overweight people in this video? I don't see any. And it was the same thing back in Latin America when they had this Sunday thing where they blocked off the street. People actually came outside, bro. Imagine that, bro. People going outside. Crazy in 2025. People don't go outside and like exercise or get like a walk in, at least at the very minimum, get a walk in, right? But when they do this encourages people to get outside, take a walk or do a jog, do a run, get together with friends and just be social. And we don't do that anymore in 2025. And that's so shocking. That's so scary that we've moved away from that post-COVID, because before COVID, it was kind of bad. But after COVID, after the lockdowns and people were isolated in their own homes for an extended period of time, we never went back to pre-COVID where people were actually, like, I guess, humans, if you really think about it, because humans are naturally social creatures. And once you take that social portion away from us as humans, you kind of lose a side of being human. So I like that they're doing this. They're kind of getting back to it again. And you don't see any overweight people here. I promise you, you'll be hard pressed to go through this entire 40-minute video and see someone that is overweight or obese, because they have a much more active lifestyle, apparently, in South Africa. I know there's going to be some overweight people here and there, but as far as it's compared to other Western countries like the US or even the UK, you'd be hard-pressed to see the majority of people being overweight. And I think it's just because they have a much more active lifestyle in countries like this. In countries like the US, the UK, they have more sedentary lifestyles. So they're mainly just sitting on the couch watching Netflix after work instead of becoming active. And there's nothing wrong with that. You choose what you want to do, but being overweight and obese, nothing wrong with it, but it does come with its own set of health issues in the future. So if you can get active, just every Sunday, just go out and walk like this, bro, you're good. You're good. Let's see. Yeah, it's a good idea too. Yeah, I believe that too, bro. Yeah, it really is a good idea. And they should do more of this in other African countries. Yeah, I agree, bro. I agree. I really do agree. Yeah, yeah, health is wealth, man. Health is wealth. It's worth the investment. Why not invest in yourself, in your own body, right? We go to work every day. We invest our time into other people's companies and businesses, but we don't invest time into our own health, right? So how can we work at our maximum capability if we don't invest in our own health, right? If we're not feeling the best, we can't work our best. That's how I kind of position it. I seen a few Humpty, bro. Bruh. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, they're food, bro. Yeah, it's all in the food too. Food, exercise, it all plays into each other, man. It's all like a puzzle into health. So let's continue this video.
Walking in the busy, bustling CBD of Cape Town makes me feel like everywhere in Africa is home for Africans, because as I walk in this city, I literally meet every nationality in Africa, which means that everyone is here.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that South Africa is actually really diverse. They have of course, Africans, right? They have they have Indians as well. They have a lot of Asians too. So it's a very diverse culture. So for them to kind of like live in harmony like that, it's honestly pretty rare to see that, because when you have a mix of cultures like that, they usually clash to a degree. So for them to kind of apparently be living in harmony is kind of nice, man. Because the world is just so crazy nowadays, man. You rarely see people living in harmony and being nice to people, like nice to others that think differently than they do, have a different religion than they do, and look different than they do. You rarely see people be joined together by their differences rather than torn apart. And I think this is probably a good example of how other countries or other cultures should handle people that are different than them. Just embrace them, embrace their differences as other people, because not everybody's going to be the same as you. And a lot of people don't understand that, man. They have to think like, oh, if you don't think this way, then I don't like you. No, you have to honestly look at this person as a human being. And if they think differently than you do, they have a different religion, they are darker than you, lighter than you, still embrace them for the differences. I bet you that you guys have more in common than you guys have in differences.
I must say that I was super blown away with the transportation system in this country.
Oh.
It's very efficient, so convenient. I mean, the buses in here are super world class, and most of them are even electric. Can you believe it? This is Cape Town.
God.
Listen, there is more to tell you, but have you liked the video yet? Subscribe and be part of this awesome channel, and let me continue educating you about Cape Town.
This town so
What? I don't get it, bro. Like the same thing happened in the Algeria video, where I was surprised at their public transportation in Algeria. But then we look at another country in Africa, South Africa, and their public transit system is actually better than what we have here in the US. And it's electric, bro. And whether you like electric vehicles or not, bro, you have to understand, like, when a regular bus goes past you and you're like on the street and you smell those fumes, you're like, oh, what the hell is that? Like, this smells like garbage. It's a night and day difference when an electric bus passes you, because there is no like emissions, there is no smoke or anything that you're inhaling, bro. So however you feel about electric vehicles, you got to say, bro, like when they're driving around and you don't have to smell that smoke and that smog and all that garbage going into your lungs, into your body, you got to be like, yo, I'm glad this bus is electric. I'm glad this car is electric. I don't have to hold my breath if a car happens to pass me by. That's kind of dope. And we don't have that here in America. The most we have, I think, is some damn near like natural gas powered buses, which is, it's expensive. Natural gas is pretty expensive, and electricity is rather cheap to produce. So I think electric, at least for mass transit, like buses and trains, that's the way to go, bro.
Listen, this is the infrastructure development that I am talking about, that it's about time the entire continent of Africa needs to start learning from each other. More like, how did you do it? How can we learn from you? Because our people deserve better, man. Our people deserve better. Africans deserve better. Listen.
Bruh, I agree. I agree with Wodamaya when he says that Africa and Africans deserve better. Because you have to think about it. If you really look at it holistically, the continent of Africa is one of the is the wealthiest continent on planet Earth, right? They have all of the rare metals on Earth. So they have gold, they have silver, they have lithium, they have iron, they have all of those precious metals. It's all in Africa. The majority of it is in Africa. Africa has oil. Africa has literally every natural resource you need to create a booming society. So with Africa's abundance of all of these minerals and useful resources, you have to think about the people that live in these countries that have these natural resources. And you have to look at their socioeconomic status, right? So you have people that are starving in some of the most wealthiest of the countries with natural resources. So you have to think about, like, okay, they have all of these natural resources. Why are they poor? Why are they impoverished? Why are they not where they're supposed to be socioeconomically? And it all comes down to the government of that specific country, because the government is very wealthy, right? So you can take a whole lot of examples from different countries from all around Africa, right, that have a struggling population of people, but a very wealthy government. It comes down to also the colonization of each of those countries in Africa, excluding Ethiopia. And you have to think about how the colonizers were able to, I don't want to say rob, but steal, right? They stole all the natural resources, or the majority of it, and they're still doing it to this day. They're extracting the natural resources from these countries in Africa and not giving any compensation to the people of those specific countries. And that's what leads to a lot of the impoverishment that you see in these different countries. So you have very wealthy countries like Nigeria, very wealthy in oil. Nigeria has hella oil, right? So you look at Nigeria as an example, and I don't want to pick on my Nigerians because I'm actually a quarter Nigerian myself, but you have cities that people live impoverished on the water. You have people that can't afford a house or can't afford food, but you have one of the wealthiest African countries on the continent. It doesn't make any sense, right? You have to think and compare it to Saudi Arabia or the UAE, very oil wealthy countries. Their citizens are living like no other. They're filthy rich. But you look at Nigeria, for example, again, they have the majority of their citizens are impoverished. And it sucks because they're very wealthy in oil and other natural resources. And their citizens should be capitalizing and living like people in Saudi Arabia or the UAE, in Dubai, for example. Those citizens, it should be the same, bro. Because Nigeria probably has the same, if not more, oil than the Middle East. Look it up. Look it up if you think I'm wrong. And I totally 100% agree with Wodamaya when he says that Africans deserve better.
Into this place and identified this location here, which is called the Company Gardens.
All right. I know his accent was a little bit hard to follow. So his accent was really hard to follow, but I'll kind of break it down for you guys and give you guys like a recap of what he said. So essentially what he said is that the Dutch colonizers freaking sailed their ship down around Cape Town, right? And they crashed in the rocks because they were coming too close. And I guess Cape Town has like some situation where the rocks are right under the ocean. So they crashed on there. And half of the crew stayed behind and dealt with the remains of the ship, and the other half went inland into Cape Town in order to get supplies and water and things and bring it back to the people that stayed behind on the ship. And they named this part of Africa or South Africa a specific name. I forgot what he said about the name,
which is called the Company Gardens.
The Company Gardens, right? So. Essentially, if you guys weren't able to follow his accent, I kind of broke it down a little bit for my audience that are native English speakers that may have an English or an American accent, so you guys kind of understand a little bit better.
When you talk about the history of slavery in Africa, all I knew was Africans were enslaved and taken to Americans.
Yeah.
But I never knew that Africans that were taken from different parts of Africa were actually brought inside Africa.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I know that the slavery is obviously horrible and it was really bad for a lot of people that were taken from Africa and sent to the Americas. But I had no idea that the Dutch went outside of Africa to get slaves from Indonesia and from India and brought them to South Africa, which explains why there's such a mixture of cultures in South Africa, right? And I mentioned earlier in the stream that there was a mix of Africans as well in South Africa, Indians, rather, in South Africa. And I had no idea why. Like, why are the Indians in South Africa? But it's from slavery. And that's when you get the mixture of everything. And it's kind of like, it mirrors a little bit of the history from the USA, from America. Because you have the Africans, you have them coming into America and mixing with the indigenous culture. So you have the Africans mixing in with the Mexicans, the Indians, and the Taino Indians in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, Cuba. You have all of these Africans coming in and mixing in with the native culture. And then you're like, nowadays in modern times, you're like, wow, there's super dark Dominicans. They say that they're not black, but you go back far enough, there's going to be an African in their family tree. And a lot of Dominicans don't like being called black, by the way, guys. But it's very interesting to see the similarities because they had the apartheid movement in South Africa, and we had the the civil rights movement in here in America, and we had the same type of like racism as well with people that were lighter or fairer skinned and people that were darker skinned were seen as less than. And it's kind of bizarre seeing the similarities and the distance between the two countries, right? And it's just very interesting to see the very similar cultures here. So let's see. The tour guide does not have a African accent. He might be from Zimbabwe, next door to SA. Many Africans fled to SA for a better life. Yeah, it definitely was not a South African accent at all. Yeah, because I've heard of South Africa. I've spoken to a South African before. Doesn't sound like that at all. But I appreciate that. The Money Show in the building. All right, guys, let's go ahead and continue the video.
Right behind me is Camps Bay residential area, one of the most expensive places to live in.
Yeah, Camps Bay, guys, if you didn't know, it's home to the Iron Man house in South Africa in Cape Town. I did a reaction to that a long time ago. I think it's still on Rumble. And it was like $10 million for that house, USD. And it was insane. And the view is ridiculous.
In Nelson Mandela's time, you see, my man, these beaches, they didn't have a unity as one. So the whites, the blacks, they had their own part of the beach. You see, my man, there was a line where we could not cross because of history, my man. You see, it's called apartheid.
Yeah.
You know?
What? How do you even separate a beach between whites and blacks? It's all one beach. It's the same, right? How would they? I wonder how they did that.
I saw this poster in the township that I feel like it's super crazy, man. This is more like a herbal clinic. And if you call this number, I mean, they're gonna give you a penis cream. Wow. What does penis cream do? Lucky oil for...
Yo, this is the most wild advertisement of all time, bro. Yo, are y'all reading this? They got pea cream. They got some smortions, financial problems, lost lover, lucky oil for luck, S problems, divorce, court cases, customer attraction, salary increase, looking for job, promotion, family problems, remove bad luck, remove evil spirits, lotto numbers, strong manhood power. Yo.
Bomba.
Whoa, this is wild, bro. Watch this be like one person offering all these services. Yo, this is crazy.
But one thing that you can also not turn a blind eye to is the fact that this is one of the most unequal city in the world.
Okay. Now we're going into the disparity portion of the video, it appears to be. So you have the very, very wealthy in Cape Town in particular. You have them at the top, and you have the townships at the bottom. So I've done extensive research on South Africa prior to this video. I've done prior reactions as well. And I know for a fact that a lot of the townships, they were meant for the poor black people during the apartheid era to live in, while the extremely wealthy white people would live outside of those townships, and they would keep the poor black people in the townships and wouldn't allow them to leave at that time. But now, as modern times have come to fruition, have actually existed now, they have the same like people in these townships still living in these same townships as like their ancestors have in the past. So I'm very curious to see Wode Maya's perspective on this here. So I love how Wode Maya, let me actually highlight it. My bad. One second. I love how Wode Maya shows both sides of the country, highs and lows. Yeah, same, bro. Like every video that I've watched recently of Wode Maya and done a reaction to, he's shown like the super highs. He's showing like how beautiful the place is. And then he also shows the reality of the other side of the road as far as how other people live outside of the touristy areas, right? If you're a tourist to Cape Town, South Africa, you're not going to go visit any townships, right? You're going to stay in in Camps Bay. You're going to stay in Bocop. You're going to stay in these touristy areas. You're not going to venture off into the townships like what Amaya is about to do now. So I'm very curious to see his perspective on this. So let's take a look.
I broke down in the terms of seeing how unequal the city is. And being honest with you guys, I know most of you are not going to be happy with what I'm saying, but
it's reality.
I'm not going to be here to say that where I'm coming from is perfect, but
it's reality, bro.
It is really sad to witness the level of disparity in wealth in this city. The fact that you could see a $3 million house and next to it, the community, each and every house in there does not even cost more than $10.
Yeah.
I sacrifice my education. I sacrifice my whole being for the people, not for myself.
Damn.
I sacrifice my family, my parents. I didn't listen to my parents because I wanted the people of South Africa to be literally free. You don't come with intellectual terminology to me and tell me that this cannot be implementable. While we were fighting, this was our policy.
Damn. So, okay, guys, he's actually a former political prisoner of Robben Island. So I was wondering, like why is he like in the video and kind of describing it as if he was there? He's actually a former political prisoner, and he was showing us Nelson Mandela's cell, and he was telling us as well that you can't lay straight. You have to sleep diagonally, which is crazy to think that you don't even have enough personal space to sleep straight in your jail cell. You have to sleep diagonally, which is wild. And he's saying that he sacrificed literally his entire life, right? His entire being. He sacrificed his education, his parents, his family, everything, in order to fight for the people of South Africa to be free. And this is very interesting because you don't typically get this type of like one-on-one conversation with someone that was actually in the prison that you're like there visiting, right? You usually get like a tour guide that did a lot of research or is hired and is kind of forced to give you like a tour of the prison. But to actually have a former political prisoner show you and tell you their own personal experience is much more powerful than a tour guide typically giving you that same type of tour. So I actually feel the emotion in his voice when he speaks, and it comes from him just having that experience, and you just don't get that from a regular tour guide. Oh yeah, wine.
So one of the things that Cape Town is known for is wine tasting. And since I'm here, I have to dress up in a wine attire just to taste that wine. So today, we are
quite literally dressed in wine, the color.
Whining because we just want to win, man. Bro, this will be my first ever wine, though. Don't ask me how does it taste, because I don't know. I just don't know.
Bro, what a drone shot that was. What Amaya is a one of one, bro. What an amazing video. Man, that was insane. That was ridiculous, bro. If you guys like love that type of content and you love me reacting to it, go ahead and just give me a subscribe to the channel, man. And look at the links down in the description box below to support the channel even further. And go to trippinwithjay.com to get some exclusive merch and to subscribe to the newsletter that I send out weekly to everybody. And we just launched a Discord channel, guys. So essentially, in the Discord channel, you know, if you happen to join the Discord channel, it's free, right? It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, but you can join in on a great community. We get to talk about traveling, and if you happen to be traveling to a specific city or country, depending on how many people join the Discord for free, you can get local information about it, and everything is free, bro. You can communicate with me, you can communicate with everyone in the community as well, and it's all free. So it's in the description box below to join the Discord, and shout out to Alex Schmidt, who is the first person to join, and I hope that one of you is the next to join as well. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and go to trippinwithjay.com to buy some exclusive merch and find other ways to support the channel, man. I really do appreciate you guys tuning into the live. We're live every single Saturday, bro. We're doing live reactions every single Saturday. Everything is in the description box if you want to go ahead and support the channel and follow me on Twitter. No, not Twitter, my bad. X, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, YouTube. Everything is in the description box below if you guys want to go support the channel. My name is Jay. The YouTube channel is called Trippin with Jay. I thank you guys for the support, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.